Alrighty, update. So other side of the suspension is done. So she has four sides with completed suspension. So this one was a little bit more of a nuisance. The bloody spring compressors, just I don't know why, but they kept getting jammed up in there, which I told you about on the last video. They just kept jammed in there, so it was a little bit of muck around. Probably wasted half an hour trying to get this spring compressor sorted out. So a few little tips. Just remember, you need to do the locator on the bottom there for the bottom spring seat. So there's a little locator on there. And also, just when you put the spring in on the top, make sure you've got a little ledge in here, and make sure the spring fits over that or fits around that. It does, like you can actually sort of feel with your finger that it's in its spot. It's pretty hard to see from underneath. So yeah, there's just a couple little tips there. So yeah, so this side's in. I got the sway bar on, so that's the 27mm. That's the big boy for the V8. So that's done. The fuel line's been run to the new spot for the V8. I've run the power steering lines to suit the V8 as well. I had a little bit of muck around, so the one on this side's got every mount under the sun, the pressurized one, but the return line, which sits up the back there, and it didn't have any real proper mount, so I rigged up some nice little rubberized mounts and clamps and bolts, and so that's solid as. So they're solid as, which is good. So that's all been put on with proper power steering / transmission line, because that's the return line, that fella. That one there is a return, and obviously that one there, which is metal all the way through, and then you got the obviously hydraulic style fittings. That's the pressurized one, so don't ever get them mixed up, and don't ever put normal transmission / power steering line, as in oil line, in this. That'll be way too much pressure. So yeah, I got the steering arm just sort of sitting in there. As I said, I'm not going to connect that up because I want this space in here to put the engine in, because I'll be on my own doing the engine install, so I need as much space as I can. So yeah, so next jobs, also the back brake lines are done, so I got the brake lines sorted out finally. So they're all done and dusted. Sorry about the light, can't see very well, but anyway, so the brake lines are done and they're all connected. So the rear is complete, suspension rear is complete, front suspension is complete. So everything's brand new, refurbished, whatever. So the brakes are connected and all that. Yeah, so which has been good. So a little bit of mucking around, as I said, but we got there. So yeah, she's looking good. She's nearly ready to get an engine in there now. So vacuum canister thingy-jiggy, I'm going to put that back in. I'm going to put the brake booster back in, simply because it's easy and I've got a lot of space to muck around with it, and it's not in the way of the engine at all. So I'll get those two things done. I will have to run the choke cable, because this had an automatic choke, so I'll run the choke cable through the manual transmission spot. And I'm replacing the accelerator cable to the V8 one, and I'm putting a brand new one in. So that's a little setup there. So that's a brand new accelerator cable. So yeah, choke and accelerator, I'm just going to sort of sit them in there in the breeze. Obviously I'll connect up the accelerator, but I'm just going to leave the choke in the breeze, because she's you can't see, that's a nuisance, but anyway, it's blanked off, so because it's an automatic choke on it. So yeah, I'll get those 4 jobs done, and then I'll chuck some wheels on her and go from there. I have to change that, fix that, modify the handbrake, and remove the second handbrake. So yeah, so there's the old cable there that has to be completely removed on the passenger side, and on the driver's side I've got to modify that cable coming down. So that's the EF brake cable setup, you can sort of see. So then I need to go to Bunnings and buy some sort of little slip in there some sort of setup, and then connect it up to this thing, the original handbrake cable, and then modify the front of the handbrake so it only needs one side. It only needs a driver's side handbrake supply, as in driver's side handbrake cable. So I got a little bit of thinking on that one. Weird, people change these diffs all the time, yet you'd think you'd be posting videos on how to do that handbrake mod, but I can't see anything. But I guess I'll show you how to do it when I've worked it out. So yeah, so other than that, we're moving forward. We're getting there. Little bit by little bit. Little job, one job, one job, one job. So the other thing, obviously the 6-cylinder has a return fuel line, and the V8s don't, as far as I'm aware, unless it's something to do with a different carby setup or what, I don't know, but that's got a Holly on it, and there's no fuel return line, that's for sure. So I'll have a quick look just in case I'm being stupid or missing something, I don't know. But there's only one fuel line in, and when you look at the fuel pump, there's only one in for supply and one out to go up to this line here. So that's all it is. So there's nothing there. So I'll just block that off, I guess. But I will have a read and make sure I haven't missed something stupid. So yeah, so I'll obviously, when I get the engine, I've got a little bit of wiring mods to do for the coil and the cables to get to the coil. But I believe what they've said is quite straightforward, based on the internet. Yeah, then I'll rough in the wiring. You can see it's a bit messy, so I'm going to be tidying all this up once I get the engine going and proven. I'll wire all this up and fix it all up nice and neat. But that's alright, that's all good. So one thing I do need to be mindful of is when you use sprays and cleaners, your little labels start to fade very bloody quickly. So you end up with not knowing where things are, but luckily mine are still legible. Yeah, so other than that, it's all good. We're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah, happy days. So that's all I've got. That's all I've got to report. But anyway, she's good. I can a couple little jobs, and then I can put it back on 4 wheels. Good. Righto. So yeah, I'll see how I go this weekend. Hopefully have a good weekend on it and get it all going. But I tell you, it's nice to have four wheels with suspension and ready for tyres. So happy days. No worries. Thanking you.